Okay, everybody, welcome to the second episode of the Professional and Scientific Council podcast. I'm your host, Paul Easker, along with Maggie Schonrock, and today's guests we have Julieanne Rogowski.
Our podcast still needs a name.
Oh, yes, that is a very important thing that we forgot to include in the comments on LinkedIn. So LinkedIn, so far we've got a lot of great attention on our podcast and many more watches than we expected for our first episode.
I mean, we were at 122 when I checked last, and that was like 2 days ago.
Yeah,
so.
I might be being a slight bit of a narcissist and sitting in front of the camera that's looking at me so I can see what I look like. And the last I checked, it was 144.
Hey, shout out to the 144 people who watched our first episode.
Yeah, we're not that far in. And I want to give a big thank you to Barb specifically for basically emailing me and saying, hey, I really enjoyed your podcast. I love what you guys are doing, but could I give you a little bit of advice? And her advice was, it was kind of hard to hear. And so for Barb, I just want you to know that this episode is going to be cranked up to 11. And we're going to do what we forgot to do, which was normalize the audio levels before we produce the final recording. So thank you for that. Thank you, anybody that reached out to us. We really appreciate all of that. So
we love feedback.
Yes. Oh, and the feedback that we need is, can you please comment on our YouTube, comment on the LinkedIn post, or send us special messages via Teams or email and suggest a better name than the Professional and Scientific Council podcast. I'm sure there's something that would be like more catchy and interesting. So if you could do that, we'd appreciate that.
Upcoming events for P&S Council, we have in the end of January 28th at 3:30. There's going to be a tour of the Midwest Grape and Wine Industry Institute to learn about all of the beer and winemaking processes that go on at the university.
I went on that tour. I went on the Brew Lab tour last year, I believe it was. Found out from that tour that the man who runs the Brew Lab is my next door neighbor. So you know who has benefited greatly from that tour? Me, because I get homebrewed beer brought to my door. And it has been fantastic.
I am so jealous.
It's so great.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
The guy.
That was a great tour. I also went on that, and that was, I 100% recommend people go.
He and my husband have become friends.
Is
and,
your neighbor Robert Brown?
Yes.
No kidding.
Former Provost Wicker lives across the street from me, directly across. It's a very interesting neighborhood. Yes.
That's awesome.
You have got to have the most interesting neighborhood ever. Okay. Space is limited for that tour, so please sign up today. Also, we want to save the date for the post-holiday party. January 8th, after the P&S Council, you can join us for hot chocolate and cookies. So keep an eye out for more information, and you will probably have to RSVP. Also, the Professional Development Conference is coming up February 26th, and registration will open on January 5th. So, get your registration in for that when it opens, because there's really neat things that go on at the Professional Development Conference every year. And so we'll have more information about that probably next episode.
Okay, without further ado, Julieanne, can you tell us about yourself?
Sure. I'm Julieanne. I am the Assistant Director of Professional Master Student Services with the Ivy College of Business. I have been with the university for almost 3 years, and before that, I was a K-12 teacher for almost a decade.
Okay. What's your role in council right now?
I am currently on the awards team.
So how's the awards going?
Good. We are in the full swing of things. We just got our citation awards back, and so our committee is looking at who we want to choose. We're scoring all of the submissions that we got. We got a lot more than we thought we would, and university awards are currently open. So once we get done with citation, we'll score university awards as well.
So nominations are open for university awards?
Yeah, they are open. They open
so
December 1st.
Our 144 viewers could go and nominate somebody.
Could go and nominate somebody, yes.
All right. We should put a link to that.
It's going to be 1,000 by pretty soon. So
here's hoping.
How many total awards does the awards committee give out? Is this where we need the
This is where I don't know.
person?
I'm very new to the awards committee. I was on the.
How long have you been on council?
This is the second year of my term, but I started somebody else's term before that. So I've almost been on 3 years. And yeah, we give out a ton of awards for citation awards. I mean, we can give out up to like 25 or 30 university awards. I have no idea because we haven't done it yet. So
Okay.
we're finding out.
So you were a part of the original 333 thing. How'd you feel about that, and how
I really liked it.
impactful that was? I
think that it was really nice for our counselors to go out and talk to constituents and really see what P&S staff are looking for across campus. And I felt like it was one of the ways that we could really go and talk to others, spread the word about P&S Council, what we do, and say, hey, we're trying to make your life better. This is, what we're here for. We are your voice and your representation. So what feedback can we give? And I feel like this year especially, Exec Board is really trying to take that 333 feedback and do something with it and find what we can do at the university to make it better.
Yeah, I really do believe that that's why we're all on council, is because we have that heart to reach out to our neighbors and try to make things better for everybody. And so that's been for sure a highlight of my time here.
Yeah. Tell us more about your position and what you do for the university.
Sure. So I work with graduate students at the College of Business. I started about a year ago. Before that, I was across campus, and I primarily advise and manage 5 different graduate programs with the College of Business. So I oversee the largest graduate program. I advise and coordinate for the online MBA that we have, as well as our Master of Healthcare Analytics, Master of Accounting Analytics, Master of Financial Technology, and Master of Real Estate and Development. So I have about 150 students that I help guide, get through some of the university processes that we have, and just try and make sure they're taking the right classes, they find things they're interested in and can better themselves through. I have a lot of P&S staff in the online MBA, which is really fun. Some of them are counselors, so it's kind of fun when I meet them virtually and then all of a sudden I see them like, oh, hey, we know each other from behind a screen, and now we get to be, I have one who's on awards council with me. And so it's just been nice to see people take advantage of some of the benefits we have at the university and try and better themselves. You know, get that free education. It's a great resource.
Yeah, I think that's nice that we can, as staff, get, is it 1 course reimbursed?
It's up to 4 credits.
Up to 4 credits, okay. You know, people told me I should take advantage of that, but I am the very weird person that always hated school. And even though I work at the college, I think that's, I know that's a weird thing to say. But
you know, the last episode you said you wanted to be a lifelong learner. So what happened to that?
So the thing is, I don't like to be told what to learn. I want to learn what I want to learn. And I am in a unique position at the campus where I'm learning about the highest of high-tech things all the time. And I love that. And I was a student here working and loving my job more than I loved being in school. And so I'd never left because it's, like you said, I'm a lifelong learner, but I'm like, credentials, whatever.
I mean, there are plenty of graduate certificates that you could do that are only 4 classes.
No.
You get that done in 4 semesters.
What kind of certificates could I do?
There's so many things before I was the assistant director at the College of Business, I worked with Iowa State Online for 2 years. And so I helped coordinate all of the online programs on campus and acted as a liaison. And so I know all about the online programs. I mean, there's a cybersecurity certificate, I believe.
I think it goes back to what Andrew was saying last time about I don't do anything online that I don't want people to know about. I mean, I guess if people want to try and break into my bank account, like, good for them because they're going to find
They put some money in there.
$12.56 and, and like a mountain of debt. Like,
Well, and as a teacher, my social media has not been under my real name since probably 2007. And everything is under similar names to what I am. But
I suddenly realized you were being recorded. And you're like, I'm not going to say that.
Now that I don't work, my high school students, very, very different finding me than my professional students.
Right.
My professional students, we're friends on LinkedIn. It's all great. I don't mind. But my high school students, I did not want them seeing my Instagram account or things like that. So
I wouldn't have wanted my college students to see my Facebook. Well, okay, I taught before I think Instagram was a thing, but I don't know. I'm not a social tech savvy person, but
you just got to be the same person everywhere.
yeah, that's what it comes down to is, I don't do anything differently in my online world. Although Paul taught me today that apparently you can have AI give you a synopsis of people. Like Grok will you can type in a name and it will give you like...
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's kind of what I thought. So I had to go search myself because speaking of narcissists, I went and I was like, what is Grok going to find about me? And all it could find was my sister-in-law's obituary.
Oh, gosh.
And yeah, and then it found... so I ran it through ChatGPT too, and ChatGPT found my dad and my grandfather's obituaries, and that was the only that and my presence at Iowa State, and that was all that it could find on me.
Well, when you have a name like mine, you look up Julieanne, and I'm the first one that pops up. And my maiden name, I was the only person in the history of the world who's ever had my name with my spelling, because my maiden name is just off the wall. And so I always
What
have
is it?
So it's Stay, but there's a silent H in the middle of it. So
That is awesome.
yes, so it's Sthay, pronounced Stay. It was French from the word jeter, but nobody could pronounce it correctly.
What's that mean?
Jeter is a dance move in ballet, but it also means to throw away. I took 7 years of French.
Okay, that's weird
I took
because
a year of ballet
I heard the word.
Grand jeté, yeah.
Grand jeté.
I heard the word and I thought it means you're supposed to stay where you are.
No,
You know?
but they thought stay and jeté sounded similar to how people were supposed to pronounce jeté, because it's spelled Jette, so people kept saying, hello, Jetty, Mr. Jetty. And I guess my father's ancestors did not like that, so they changed it to Stay. Yeah.
Interesting.
That is kind of interesting.
Back to this thing about you can look anyone up. So
Now you're looking me up.
Oh no,
No,
we
I
had
already did.
Grok. We had Grok.
I'm going to give you my phone.
Oh, no.
And you can read it. You can read it to the mic if you want, or
Oh, gosh.
just see what you think, if it's accurate or not.
It says Julieanne spelled incorrectly, which is my biggest pet peeve. Read my signature. It's right there. Also, I don't go by Julie. Don't call me that. Is a graduate
that.
is a graduate student services specialist 2 at Iowa State in Ames, Iowa. In this role, she supports graduate students with advising, enrollment, program coordination, and online learning initiatives. She holds a PhD from the University of Massachusetts. God, I wish I did.
So it's pretty wrong then.
Grok got it wrong.
And has a multidisciplinary background that includes education, English, and music. That is true. Graduated magna cum laude, I wish, with honors in all 3 areas. Close. She's a member of several academic honor societies. All that's true. That is my published undergraduate thesis that it talks about. And I'm active in Ames, where I serve on the Public Arts Commission, which is also true. And I maintain a low public social media presence. Yeah, because you can't find it under my name.
Interesting. So it was kind of delusional and kind of correct.
I'm guessing it pulled a lot from my LinkedIn, because a lot of that's on there.
Yeah, I have noticed that when I look myself up, it seems like LinkedIn is a
How does
heavy
it think you
reference.
have a PhD,
God,
though?
I wish that was true.
Well, she said that
hilarious.
the name was wrong, spelled. So maybe there's
It
someone
is.
with a closely matching
It
name.
could be. But the rest of it's true. I mean, I did have 3 undergraduate majors when I graduated, so that's actually accurate. And
I had 2 majors and a minor when I graduated, so.
and that's my undergraduate thesis on there, and yeah, that was published and I presented it, and yeah. So most of it was true.
Undergraduate thesis, like that blows my mind. I didn't even have to do a graduate thesis.
Is that because of the kind of degree you got that you had to do a thesis? Or the school?
I believe it was school based. I went to a small private university in the middle of central Illinois, and because one of my majors was education, all education majors had to do a research thesis that they did while student teaching. You completed the research while you were student teaching and then had to present it in the spring. And so mine was all about infusing music into the English classroom, because I was a voice major, but then also an English major and an education major. So I taught English and talked about how my passion for music went into the classroom and how that helped increase student engagement.
So how do you infuse music into?
I used to. So my research was all about kind of 3 different ways to infuse music into the English classroom, where some of it was student choice, where I'd ask them like, okay, what do you guys like to listen to? What is school appropriate that we can play? And I always had a writing kind of warm up at the beginning of class. And so during that time, I'd play music that they liked. Otherwise, I'd play music that was kind of historically inspired by the time period we were reading about or writing about. So I was always the Shakespeare teacher. So during that time, I'd do a lot of like, okay, this is what, Hamlet's going to a ball. That's not true. But this is the music they'd be dancing to. Or when I'd teach Romeo and Juliet,
I was going to say, wasn't there like a movie where they like rapped some Shakespeare?
Yeah,
I
probably.
I feel like that's a plot of a movie somewhere.
But Shakespeare wasn't rapping back in the day, probably.
Yeah, but that's the cool thing about Shakespeare is it's so adaptable. You
Oh my
can
God.
do it in so many different ways, and that's why I love it.
Technically, 10 Things I Hate About You, which was like my
Yes.
favorite high school movie, I found out way later was based
Taming
off
of the Shrew.
Taming of the Shrew.
She's the Man is Twelfth Night, and I used to. When I taught Hamlet, we'd read Hamlet, and then I'd make my students watch The Lion King and say, okay, they're based on each other.
Find the similarities.
Find the similarities and differences, and that's a state standard. So
Fun
I
story.
had no idea that those were based off of each other. Wow.
So you didn't know that Hamlet and Lion King were based off each other?
Why would I know that?
I mean,
for all the random trivia, you don't know that.
yeah, like
No, I know. I don't know. Just not that kind of information.
That's the kind of information
Actually,
I store in my brain. You want to
that's
know
the stuff
Hamlet's
you
birth,
need.
or not Hamlet? You want to know Shakespeare's birthday? Right here. I got it for you.
Okay, but that's probably because you enjoy reading
Yes.
and English and teaching about those things, where I'm not a reader. I don't think about that kind of stuff. I want a
that actually kills
podcast
me
or
too,
something
so.
to get that information that way. So
audiobooks, man. Try audiobooks.
audiobooks are really good.
Audible
Yeah.
is my friend.
I'm not a huge audiobook person, but
I'm not either, only because I can't listen and do at the same time.
Yes.
Like, I'll find myself, if I try it, like, because I have audiobooks that I listen to in the car while driving, but like, I can't do it while I'm trying to do something, because like I'll be doing something and then the next thing you know, like I'm 3 chapters later and I'm like, wait, I don't even know what the plot summary is right now. Like, who is this character and when did they even show up? Like, I never was able to.
So we found out that we live pretty close to each other.
Yeah, we live like a
Which-
block apart, which was crazy.
that's hilarious.
So we're like
Where do I
9
live?
minutes away. I don't know where I did not stalk you.
Cybersecurity. You're trying to find out where I live now.
No, I do not care. You can tell me if you want, but it doesn't matter. I was just going to pick up Maggie and we are going to have lunch to talk about the podcast before our first episode. And so she gives me her address and I pulled up on Google Maps. And I'm like, oh my gosh, it's literally like around the corner. So it makes it really easy for us to go to a place in the neighborhood real quick and have a quick lunch and discuss things. But all of that to say, if you listen to podcasts on your way and you're driving, like it's 9 minutes. Do you do that going to Iowa State, or
No.
are you podcasting as you're going like
I usually
hours?
do podcasts or books as I'm driving like long distances because then I can get multiple chapters in.
We used to have a classroom in Des Moines, and so I would go down once a week to be there in case students needed anything, wanted to ask questions, also to like see them in person because sometimes I wasn't seeing them in person. And so, that was 2 hours every week that I'm like, okay, I can listen to, an educational podcast that I need to listen to for class, or I would do a lot of audiobooks that way too. But I'm not a huge audiobook fan. I want to read it. I want to take my own time, my own pace.
But they are really good for those long distance
Yes.
drives where you need to just catch up on something. So you just mentioned that we have a classroom.
We
in
had
Des
a
Moines.
classroom, yeah.
Does Iowa State still have classrooms in Des Moines? Or?
Our lease ends at like next week. So we had a hybrid version as well as for our MBA and the online version. And we found students just vastly prefer the online version since it got rolled out in 23, I think. Capitol Square, right across from the Performing Arts Center, is where our classroom was located for a while. I think like 10 years maybe.
Wow.
A very long time. Cool. So, yeah.
All right. You keep talking about teaching. Mm-hmm. It is, I think, uncommon, but there's a small group of professional and scientific staff that teach. What is that like for you? Like, how much of your time are you teaching? And
I teach one class in the fall semester, and it's very minimal. It's a study abroad course or study tour because it's not abroad, but my online students have the chance to go to Washington, D.C. and see how business is impacted by policy and government. So they get to talk to a lot of senators and, people who are actually in Congress and lobbying and things like that. And so I was not able to go on the trip this year, but I will go next year. And it's kind of just an analysis of what they learned, a reflection on how it impacts where they work. I had 2 PNS staff members who went on the trip a couple months ago, and they really enjoyed it. But I'd say preparing my class took a while, but because I taught K-12 for a long time, I'm a whiz with Canvas. I've been on Canvas for years, so it took me a couple hours to get my class started. The grading is so much easier. I only have 3 students, so I also can't complain about that, but the grading is so much easier than when I had 150 students who had 3 papers due a semester. So I'd say a couple hours a semester. I feel like I'm in a very different position than a lot of other people who teach on campus. But yeah, it's nice to still flex that muscle in my brain.
yeah. So was that your idea to start this class, or did somebody come to you and say, hey, we have a need and we know that you know how to do this?
It was the person who had my role previously also did it. And so I inherited it. It was really all.
Nice.
Mm-hmm. It's not that interesting.
No, actually, you might not think it is, but there are a lot of people that deal with teaching in a profession of a regular PNS role, and I'm sure that they'll listen to this and hear you talk about this and say, I need to go talk to her about that because maybe I have something that I'm struggling with how to think about things, and so that's good.
And it was nice too. I'm working on it's been a 10-year long journey, but I'm working on my master's in education, taking advantage of that nice, PNS benefit. And I'm also getting an instructional design certificate. So the class I took over the summer was really helpful. We had a choice of what we could do to fulfill our project requirements, and I just happened to have this class coming up. So a lot of what I did counted for credit when I took this class, and it helped me get my class ready before the semester started. It was really nice. So our instructional design faculty are really great.
So are you working with those people in CELT then?
No, it's faculty.
Okay.
But I was in CELT, and the instructional designers and I are, very close friends, and several of the instructional designers and the team in CELT taught high school with me at the same school. So there are 6 people on campus who we all were teachers at the same high school, and now are PNS staff here on campus. So
that's awesome.
We have varied roles, but it's been fun to get together and see each other now that we've all left teaching.
Yeah. Yeah, you got that life story experience to discuss with your friends, which is always fun.
Yeah.
Brings you together more.
So Julieanne, what motivated you to join council in the first place?
Sure. So when I joined the university, I had been a stay-at-home mom for 2.5 years. I left teaching during the pandemic. I had a baby right at the very beginning of the pandemic, and so I stayed home with her for several years. And when I came to the university, I knew one person, and I had a really, really great supervisor when I first started, and she said, if you want to make those connections, you want to meet people, why don't you join council? It sounds like it would be a great fit for you. And so I ran. I did not make it. And fun story, nobody knew who I was, so nobody voted for me.
That is the hard part.
So I did not get on. And right around August or September, I got said, hey, we've got a vacancy. Do you still want to do it? And so I served almost a full term that first year before being voted on, and liked doing it, stayed on.
What do you like best about council?
I really like the people I've met. I mean, some of the connections I've made, like Rachel Faircloth and I kind of knew each other, and then all of a sudden our offices are next to each other because we both happened to take jobs at the same place. And it was kind of one of those, I kind of know you from council, and we're both new to this place, and we don't know each other, we don't know anybody else. And so we kind of became friends that way. And now Rachel and I are really close. And so it's nice to just kind of build your connections across campus, especially working in a student-facing role. Sometimes I'm like, oh my gosh, I need help with this, or the student needs this, and I can pick up the phone and across campus, and I know who to call, and I know who to trust, and I know, there are great people, and I've built those relationships. So I feel good handing my students off because I know all of the people that I need.
Yeah, that's for sure always something that I like to preach about council is that connectiveness.
Yeah.
Because I don't even know how many people I now have that are now some of my closer friends just because of being in council.
Yeah,
so.
Absolutely.
I've been quiet on council that I don't think anybody knows who I am yet, but now I guess they do.
You now have a global stage.
Now I have a global stage.
You are definitely going to be much more well known, and the next time you run, you'll probably get all the votes.
Or people will be like, God, I hate that chick. Like, let's get her out of there.
Don't be so hard on yourself. Come on.
Oh, no, that's my MO, man. I don't know if you know that about
me. I think I've started to realize that, yeah.
Oh, yeah, no, self-deprecation humor is what I was raised on. Like, that's, if you ever met my family, like, you would get it. Like, we self-deprecate humor. Like, make the joke about yourself first, because then no one else can make fun of you.
I always tell people, the more I make fun of you, it just means that I love you the most.
Oh, dude, my brother tells me that all the time. He is brutal.
My poor husband is like, can you lay off of me? I'm like, it's me showing you how much I love you. It's just, I'm going to roast you in front of your friends.
This is how I love. Like, I don't know another way.
It is not his love language. That is very safe to say.
That is definitely not some people's love language.
Oh, no.
And I guess it's both of you because you grew up that way that became your love language.
I
I'm
mean,
just very sarcastic. That's all it is. And when you know you're in a safe space and the other people, you do what you got to do for a laugh.
I think the funny part
Yeah,
is like,
that's
I'm a very quiet person up until the point at which I know I'm in a safe space. At which point then
It all is unleashed.
I mean, at which point I will open my
Yes.
mouth and God have mercy on whoever is in the space at that point in time, right?
The safe space of nobody listening in front of a microphone.
I mean, here's the thing: we have 144 viewers.
We're gonna have
and I know at least 4 of them. So
Paul is probably about 40 of them. So.
No. There's an app that you open called YouTube.
And it watches for you.
No.
also,
You could do that.
I
if you
know.
want.
so you might know this. Like, if you're on YouTube and if you watch the podcast multiple times, do you count as multiple views, or does it count you by the IP address?
I believe that each time you watch it, you would be recounted, but that might be wrong. It may know based on your cookie data of your browser. But
so
if you were
watch on
to,
multiple devices,
Yeah,
do
if
you
you-
get multiple views?
you absolutely would. In
So,
fact,
so what I
fact-
need to do in order to get us more views is like I need to watch us on my phone
Your
and then my
tablet,
work
your work
computer.
computer.
Yeah, right.
Get
Like
every
just get
device.
all the devices.
yes, that would
and-
work.
Push
and
those
then-
analytics.
and just hit the play. Well, that's how the algorithm works, man.
Yep.
Like we got to get the views. Like this is what I love about my podcasts is you can always expect one thing out of podcasts, and they're going to be like subscribe and like,
True.
so that we can
We were
move the
supposed to start
algorithm.
doing that, right?
Yes, we have.
So don't forget to subscribe and like.
Don't forget to subscribe and like this PNS Council podcast
You know,
that needs a name.
Your question about that reminds me of a time that we were trying to win some popularity contest, and
Who's we in this story?
Staff that I work with,
Okay.
and
And
I
who
can't,
was
I can't
holding the
remember.
popularity
what-
contest?
Honestly, I do not remember because this was like 10 some years ago. But we got to thinking about how could we revote, and well, we have access to 100 computers. So
Oh no.
if we just logged into all of those computers and went to the same website, we would be different people.
I
And
mean,
so
in
we
case
won.
people are wondering, we're not actually watching this on multiple devices just to like get likes and
Nor
views.
are we advocating fraud.
Yes, do not cheat.
Yeah,
Cheating
please,
is wrong.
please don't cheat. We don't like cheating because we're all in a university setting, so cheating is bad.
Yeah.
Also, using AI is probably cheating, but just
No.
putting
Unless the professor says you can use it.
unless the professor says you can use. There you
There-
go. I don't know anything about teaching these days. I think about my teaching days and like, okay, so I taught in Minnesota at the community college level. Back in like 2012. And so like AI wasn't even a thing back then. Like, you know, and-
AI wasn't a thing when I taught 5 years ago. I mean, it just has blown up in popularity.
yeah, and I can't imagine trying to teach in these like in this world, like trying to figure out what knowledge is actually coming from your students and what knowledge they're taking from AI, right? Like
To plug
How
SELT.
does that
Yeah,
impact you?
so SELT has some syllabus statements. There are some syllabus statements that you have to include in your syllabus, and then they have a lot that you can include that are nice. And so they have some guidance on what to say for AI. So if you are not going to allow it in your class, there's a statement on that. There's a statement on if you are going to allow it with some limitations, some language of what you can say. And I think part of it too is you just got to build a better assignment. A lot of the times I have a lot of people who come to me and they're like, well, all of my students are cheating because of AI. And I'm like, well, have you taken a look at your assessment? Because a multiple choice test is really easy to throw into AI. And writing an essay nowadays is not the way around it, which is what it used to be. And, you know, you need to have some of those experiential learning and reflective assignments and hands-on experiences to get away from if you don't want your students to use AI. And so in my class, I said, it's totally fine if you want to use AI to help you start the assignment, to help you brainstorm, to help you get started, but I want the words and the language to be your own, because as an English teacher, I always advocated for how powerful language is and how that needs to be a tool that you use to, it's a representation and a reflection of you. And so I think just words are so powerful, and I want them to come from the student and not from a computer. And I want to know since especially they're reflecting on their time on a trip, I want to know their experiences and their personal reflections, not what a computer thinks I want. I don't care what a computer thinks I want.
I think back to English class when I was in like grad school, high school. Not grad school, but like high school and early college. And it was like, now grant you, we're going back to the early aughts here, but it was like you read a book and then you had to like write a paper on that book with a plot synopsis. And I think about that and I'm like,
That's boring.
Yeah, you
and
just get the cliff
and
notes and read those.
Dude, I once
not
wrote
saying I ever did that.
I
didn't do that either, and I was an English speaker.
I once wrote a paper on the Hunchback of Notre Dame by comparing it to the Disney version. I have never read the book, FYI, and nor do I ever plan to. I literally just verbatim basically gave them the Disney movie.
What did your teacher say?
A+. Great job.
I don't even remember. Like, I don't remember, but I don't think my teacher was real impressed. But they were like, okay, well written, C. Okay, sure.
And like some of my favorite assignments that I did was I taught a unit on propaganda and satire. We were going into, at that time, an election cycle. And so I wanted to teach my students, I taught seniors at the time, some critical skills of, everything around us is propaganda, and everything around us is trying to manipulate you in some way. And so what are some of the techniques that are used so you can identify them, to see them, and maybe think a little more critically about what's being put out there. And so one of the assignments I loved to do was a fake research report that was based on a tornado that happened in Kansas. And the more and more you read it, and when you look at the images, it's talking about the tornado that happens in The Wizard of Oz. And the professors are fake. All of the research and things that they cite are fake, but it looks legit, especially to students who are like, I found it on the internet, so it's true. And so I love to show my students that. But at the end of the unit, they had to use those propaganda techniques and create a video as to what, where I'm from, open enrollment is not a thing. And so when I came to Iowa and started teaching, I was shocked that you could just open enroll anywhere you wanted, basically. In my perspective, that's what it seems like. And so they created their own propaganda videos they had to use a handful of techniques to entice students to come to our district. And it was a really fun assignment that you can't really, if you're going to use AI for it, okay, like you're still creating, you're still doing, you're still applying that knowledge. And so you just got to build a better assignment.
Yeah, I'm with you. I know professors that are on both sides of the fence. Some of them are freaking out about the AI. Others are saying, let's embrace it because it's not going away. And I think the right answer is to embrace it, but do it with caution. And as you said, use it as an add-on tool to help you start. And then, of course, you have to review it and make sure it's not producing nonsense.
For those of anybody who teaches or uses AI or has some hesitation, SALT has a really great AI course for staff and instructors. I think it's primarily for instructors, but also staff. And the class that I'm currently taking, we had the opportunity to take their training. And it really talks about, we can embrace AI, but it still needs that human touch and that human discernment to make sure that what it's giving us and what you're putting into it and the output you're getting is accurate and what you want. And it has some really great tips. And so if that's something that we can internalize and then teach to other students, I think that would be really impactful.
I really like the idea of creating better assignments out of AI because I think that would be a really cool thing because I think that a lot of, from what I remember of school, like it was a lot of like, here, read a textbook and now let's take a test or write a paper and it was a lot of regurgitation. And I feel like the idea of doing more sort of hands-on things and making it, I mean, education in a way more immersive, I think is a really good idea.
And I think we also have to be really explicit and intentional with it too. A lot of the times I see like, okay, students from this class or this project or whatever, they're going to learn teamwork. I'm like, that's great. Working in a team is a soft skill that students need. How are you teaching them how to be better teammates? And people will look at me and say, well, just doing the project. And I said, okay, well, what about those students who struggle or who've never worked in a project before or who are those really, really terrible teammates that we've all had? And
yeah, I hate teamwork. It's the worst.
It's because
but if you know who you're working with.
Nobody explicitly teaches it. And so if that's going to be a learning outcome that you want students to have, it's something that actually needs to be taught explicitly and intentionally. And so I think a lot of that too is even with AI, like if we want students to use it and use it probably in an ethical way, it needs to be explicitly and intentionally taught.
I feel like I was reading something the other day that was like, one of the things that employers are really sort of annoyed about is that the generation coming in now, they don't have those soft skills. So communication and teamwork and leadership and all of these things, right? Like they just don't have those sort of soft skills. So how do you teach those things and have them be the outcome, right? I think that's a really cool idea.
Yeah, that was something when I was teaching that I just said, oh, there are standards. Those are standards that we have to teach nationally. And I was always in the camp of like, well, they're practicing it because they're doing it. But then somebody challenged me and said, well, how are you explicitly teaching what you're looking for? And that really changed my perspective on it of, oh, yeah, just assuming that they're going to get it because they do it isn't a great way to teach. And so you have to change it.
I also feel like, it needs to be a shift in sort of management theory and like how people are approaching what we're doing, right? Like, I mean, employers could complain that, this generation doesn't have those soft skills, but it could be said that maybe you just aren't adapting to the way those soft skills sort of could work differently, like, I mean, how could you...
But some of those lack of soft skills, I think, is looking at your phone too much. How many times does everybody that is in the room look at their phone and not, if you grow up and you have a phone and you're looking at it all the time, are you thinking about how to interact with the people around you? Are you even realizing how important eye contact is and stuff like that? So,
yeah, I taught speech for several years, and it was a struggle. I mean, public speaking for anybody is hard, but those are skills. I mean, how do you teach someone that you have to look at your audience when you're talking, or when to pause naturally, or
when they're just looking down and they're giving a speech? That's
and it's so hard. I mean, that's something I struggled with when I was teaching that class, is how do you teach confidence in yourself other than just doing it? I mean, I took a speech class in high school. I hated it. I was horrible. And then I spoke professionally for 10 years in front of a classroom. And now going up and giving a presentation doesn't faze me. It's like you asked me if I was nervous before this.
You not even feel nervous at all?
No.
Okay.
No.
The funny thing is I did teaching, and teaching, I mean, it made it really easy for me for public speaking, right?
Yeah.
Like I could get up in front of a class and do a presentation because I'm expected to be there, right? And like this podcast, I still get nervous, but like I don't get as nervous because it's like sort of I'm expected to be here and people are choosing to listen to me or not, right? Like, but like put me up in front of a group where like, and they're just like, here's your topic, go. And I'm like,
depends on the topic though.
Yeah, I mean, I guess,
if you know the topic, that's easy. I could rant all day about tech and whatnot.
Yeah, if you want me to talk about Shakespeare, I'll go talk about, or teaching. Gosh, I could go on a tangent about teaching, and we have gone on a tangent about teaching. But yeah,
I'm just saying I could go on a tangent about teaching. I have one rating on ratemyprofessor.com, and let me tell you how much that student did not like me.
Oh, no. It's only the good ones
That's-
and the bad ones that you
Yeah, the
get.
good ones don't look.
I apparently didn't have any
don't
good
rate
ones,
you.
and I only had one bad one, and I like to think he was mad at me because I told him he couldn't come to class high, but...
Some basic life skills.
I mean, this is what I'm saying, right? This is how you teach those basic life skills, is you have to tell students, like, no, I know, I'm looking at you, you're high as a kite right now, like, you can't come to class this way.
I think
That's so
personally, part of it too is I'm just a yapper. You get me going and I won't stop talking. And like, I was an English teacher for a reason. Like, I talk and talk and talk to the point where my colleagues, I have to say, like, if you need to do something more important, tell me to leave. I will not be offended because I just won't stop talking until you tell me to.
You absolutely can tell me to shut up anytime.
And I will take zero offense to it.
That's what the world needs more of. It's more of people that don't take offense to somebody saying something they might not like.
There are very few things I will take offense to.
You know, life is too short to waste your time being offended, right?
Mm-hmm. And part of what I loved about teaching too is, like, I love to talk, but I also love to hear about people. And so I loved getting to know my students and just, like, you know, they're whole people outside of the 45 or, 90 minutes that I had them in. And so it was those times outside of class or, and English was such a great time because we could talk about Shakespeare, but Shakespeare also talks about love and he talks about life and he talks about death. And those bring up such strong emotions for students to process through, especially like high school is such a pivotal time just in development theory, and talking about those things, just like you get to know those students on such a deeper level as opposed to like, find the square root of X or whatever. As much as my best friends teaching were always math teachers, but like I just felt like I got to know my students on such a personal level, and that's why I loved English.
Did you ever look yourself up on Rate My Professor?
No. Well, because I wasn't a professor. I was a high school teacher. But
So
I don't think
there's
Rate My
that
Teacher
for-
was like really a thing. However, my father-in-law was a teacher for many, 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 many years, and I would look him up occasionally. He taught calculus and...
Bring the receipts. Look at this. I found on the internet at Thanksgiving.
That'd be the best time to bring it up, like Thanksgiving table. Like, hey, check out what I found on the internet.
Oh, he would love it too. He would love it. He taught football, or he coached football, and he was just tough as nails, and he would enjoy it so much to see what students thought about him.
My family loves to bring up everything that you shouldn't bring up at the Thanksgiving dinner table at the Thanksgiving dinner table. Like,
That's what you should do, though.
Is that what your family does too?
Yeah, because
brings up all your little peccadillos from the past. Here's everywhere where you ever messed up. Oh,
That's just before I go to bed at night.
Yeah, some of that stuff happens too.
no, see, and my family, like, if you started talking politics in my household, like, we're all on the same page. So it's not like we don't have crazy Uncle Jim who, like, is on the other side, right? Like, we don't have any of those in my family. Like, we all seem to think fairly the same, right? And
Sounds kind of boring, honestly.
I mean, it depends on the topic, right? But
Yeah.
it just politically, we all sort of ended up in the same spectrum. We can disagree on any certain political thing, like, I mean, from all of our shared experiences. But I think we all pretty much ended up on the same background for the most part, at least in my immediate family. I mean, everybody has a crazy Uncle Jim, let's be real.
I think that my role is like the favorite uncle.
So he's the crazy uncle because he doesn't know.
I probably am the crazy uncle. When I show up, my nephews and my niece are just like, Uncle Paul, what are we gonna go do? And I show up with paddle boards and all sorts of entertaining things. Like I have a balance. It looks like a skateboard, but it's got a line.
Oh yeah.
Gibbon slack board.
Yeah.
I brought that to Thanksgiving and everybody was having so much fun. And then I brought out AI videos and we started taking pictures of things and then asking AI to make us do weird stuff. Yeah, I guess I'm a crazy uncle.
That's how we came up with the opening of this podcast.
Yeah, actually.
We took a picture and like...
At
Paul
some
threw it in
point,
AI.
we should take like a couple different photos of us, so then we have some optional starting points to make something weird happen. if you're cool with
we should throw a teaching vein into it this time. I feel like this has been a lot of
What do you
lot
mean
of
a
teaching.
teaching vein?
I don't know, like have it teaching a class or
We're
have
inside an
us-
apple.
Oh, we could
Yeah.
have us all get up and start writing on the walls and the whiteboard or something.
Oh
like
my
that.
God, like that would be cool.
That would
Did
be
you know
interesting.
that I did not know for the longest time that all of the walls in this place are made out of like whiteboard?
I had one of those in my classroom. It was amazing. I
So-
loved it.
So in
I
my
think that's cool, but it creates a lot of work. People have to
clean it.
It was.
I mean, I
they
feel
are
like-
very difficult to clean. It does not come off very easy.
No, it really doesn't. But like all of the conference rooms in my building have whiteboard walls, and all our office like literally is one between the windows is all one big whiteboard wall, and you can just write on any random wall.
You
We
know,
don't because we're not heathens, but you know.
There are certain people that love whiteboards, and for some reason, I'm not one of those people.
Love me a whiteboard.
I want my keyboard to write out my thoughts and then forget what they were.
No, you know what I wish had a whiteboard is my desk, right? I wish
Oh,
my
yeah.
desk was made out of whiteboard because I would be doodling all
You
day.
just get a glass desk and then try not to drop your coffee mug into it.
I mean, I'm the same person who already has dropped my water all over the place on my desk. So
My office is a converted conference room, and I have a whiteboard on one wall. And I
you
used
have
to.
an office?
I do.
I'm so
I do.
jealous.
I have a private office, which was a big perk because my old office was just cubicle land.
Oh, dude,
So-
my boss doesn't even, I mean, our entire office is like an open concept. And so, like, even the offices have like a gap at the top of the wall where, like, you can't have a private conversation in our office.
Right, and being in a student-facing role, sometimes we have to have confidential meetings, and so having a private office is kind of needed. But yeah, my office used to be a kind of conference team room, and so there's a whiteboard in there. And the building manager came around, and he's like, "Do you want me to remove this whiteboard?" I'm like, "Don't you dare! I want it. I will use it. Please keep it," because from teaching, I had whiteboards for days,
You're
all
like,
over my classroom.
Let me explain it to you. And then you start writing on the whiteboard.
I keep, long-term projects that I don't want to forget about, or things that it's like, okay, I can't deal with this right now, but once the semester ends, I can brain dump it there and know that I'll come back to it after, when the spring semester starts or whatever. It's just all of my summer projects, things I don't have time to get to right now, throw it up on the whiteboard, and it's there for me in 6 months when I'm ready
Yeah,
for
but
it.
what if somebody erases it?
Nobody erases. Nobody goes in my office.
Okay, fine.
Also, I mean, electronically, it has the same theory, right? Like somebody could come
I
in.
have
and-
an electronic whiteboard app that I could use, but I
As
almost
do
never use
I.
it. We all do.
Right. It's called Whiteboard and it's by Microsoft.
Yeah. Do you ever use that?
No, I didn't even know it existed.
Well, now you know. You can
So
try it.
actually, this is kind of a funny story. After I got my job at Iowa State, I was trying to get ready to move from Waterloo down here, and so like I had all of these things just running through my head because you got to sell one property, you got to
Yep.
pick up another, you've got to find somewhere to live, you got to schedule movers, you've got to do all those things that come with a job change. And so like I would be up at nights, like just running all of the, so finally I was like, I need a whiteboard. I need to write all this down. So like I just went online and I was like, I need a whiteboard app. And Google was like, you already have one. I was like, check that out.
I keep a pad of sticky notes and a pen by my by my nightside table because some of my best lesson plans came in the middle of the night. I just all of a sudden say, "Oh my God, this idea about having a unit on satire and propaganda came to me in the middle of the night," and I just wrote it down. And the next morning, I'm like, "What the heck was I talking about?" But it turned into something really cool. I feel like all my best ideas, like I don't have shower thoughts. I have like
My friend Lindsay, we were in high school. She was my best friend in high school, and she was like, 4'11" and maybe weighed 100 pounds soaking wet, right? Like most of her life, she weighed 90 pounds, But this little girl could pack a punch. Like,
well, I definitely don't fight girls, so.
I mean, she would fight you, I assure you.
I hope
like,
not. I don't know why she would.
The littlest
Pretty
people.
nice person. Okay.
Until she disagreed with you on something.
Oh, of course. There's always that.
There's always that.
Tell us about when you're not at work. What do you like to do?
You're going to love this answer, Paul. You know what I do? I read. I read about 100 books a year.
100 books a year?
Yeah. Last month I read, I think it ended up being like 12 or 14 books last month.
What do you read?
I read a lot of everything. My favorite audiobooks, I will only do like a memoir because I don't want to have to keep track of plot or anything like that. Although I read this just bizarre book.
Wait a minute. Isn't a memoir like a life story of someone's? So
I know, but I don't care about your Uncle Joe from when you were 2.
But it's
when
like
you're
a
20.
plot, right?
Kind of.
I mean, a lot of memoirs are written in a linear fashion, right? Like they just tell random stories about themselves. So it's not necessarily like chapter 1 maybe relates to chapter 20. Like most memoirs, like
so you're
they're just
kind of just
telling.
getting a bunch of life lessons.
And stories. Yeah, I do a lot of
Yeah.
nonfiction, a lot of memoirs, and a lot of like learning books that way.
What's a learning book?
It's
Like
just
a
what I'm calling-
topical kind of thing?
Yeah, like if I want
how
to
to
read
do your garden or something like that.
Yeah. But the memoirs are fun because usually they're authored by, or the audiobook narrator is the person who wrote the book. And so there's one book I read about somebody who had been a TV star and they started off in musical theater. And so they were talking about auditioning, and she's like, oh, well, I sang this song. Well, if you're just reading it, you're reading the lyrics of the song. But if I'm listening to the audiobook, she's singing it to me. That's pretty darn cool.
Yeah. There's a plug for audiobooks being better.
Or somebody was talking about their dad on a phone call, and so they actually called up their dad and put it in the audiobook narration.
Like one of my favorite artists that I listen to, who's a singer, she did a memoir, and I listened to her memoir, and of course she read it on her audiobook. And a lot of people who do memoirs,
I would 100% do that. If I wrote a book about myself, I would read it.
And so most of them do, and so it's really interesting, like to learn about their lives and hear them talking to you, because then it really does feel more alive, I think.
Yeah. But, just personally, I read a lot of just popular fiction. If people are talking about a book, I want to know why they're talking about it. I love books. I love reading. I read a lot of I read a lot of romance books. That's kind of my genre.
Pure romance, or like, are you like a romantasy? Or
No.
Have you heard this thing that romance is now split into multiple categories?
Oh, absolutely.
Like,
I'm more of like a rom-com. Like
Okay,
I want.
all right.
So do you read romance books that turn into romance movies?
Occasionally,
And
yeah.
then do you watch the movie and go, oh, they wrecked it?
Oh, absolutely. There are very, very few instances where I like the movie or TV show better than the book. But a lot of the books that I've read or really enjoyed in the past are being turned into TV shows or movies. And so there are a lot of us in my office who read the same types of books. And so we're all pumped up and getting really excited for some of the things that are going to be released very soon.
Does that turn into like hey, did you get that chapter read last night? Like
We talked
catch
about it a
back
lot,
up
yeah.
kind of thing?
We do. We've talked about, at the college, there are a lot of readers starting a book club, but I haven't had time to get anything off the ground. It's been a very busy
that
summer.
honestly makes me wonder.
You read 100 books a month. I'm lucky if
Oh my God.
My goal on Goodreads last year, I think, was 30 or 40 books, and I don't even think I made that. I'm also not a very fast reader, though, because
you know what? I might sometimes watch 100 TikToks a day.
I'm too old for the TikTok. I can't do
TikTok
that.
is fascinating. I'm just into the conspiracy theory stuff, so it's a good time.
I started when I was a stay-at-home mom. You know, my child was a potato for a very long time, and there's not a lot you can do when your kid, you know, can't even sit up by themselves. And so,
Oh, that's what you meant. I was like, where is she going?
She was just a bump on a log for a
look
really
for a
long
second
time.
and think, a potato? Why did you have a potato child?
She's very cute. She doesn't
pet?
look like a potato. She's very cute.
You know, I had already forgotten the part where you were like, I became a mom in the beginning of COVID, and I was like, how old is her kid that her kid's a potato?
You know what? Can I ask you about that?
Yeah.
Like that
Yeah.
seems like that would be a hard
It
time
was so
to
hard.
become a mom.
It was so hard. We, I mean, part of it was really great. So spring break is, you know, for the most part when things started, when quarantine happened, and I left a day early from spring break or from my school to start spring break early because I was going home for my baby shower. And I got home, there were starting to be rumors like we're not going back to work. And I had probably about half the people who were supposed to show up to my baby shower say like, hey, I'm sick, or I work with kids who are sick, and I'm just really afraid to get you sick. And especially at that time, we didn't know what the effects would be on, you know, I'm growing this thing inside of me whose lungs are still developing, and we know that this is affecting the lungs, and we don't know how it's going to affect children. And so coming back from that, obviously we went into quarantine for 2 weeks, and those were air quotes for those of you listening online. And I was not allowed to go back in my classroom because I had been out of state. So I couldn't get any of the materials that I had left there. And so I had a big jug of hand sanitizer that, you know, became a real hot commodity that I couldn't go get. I had hidden it at the beginning of the year because my students were eating it. So welcome to teaching 16 to 18-year-olds. I had to hide my stapler because they were stapling themselves. Just...
I mean,
I have some fascinating teaching stories.
I feel like we did stupid shit when I was in high school, but like,
Yeah.
I don't remember stapling each
Okay.
other.
Yeah.
Although, then again, we did the pencil thing. Like, do you remember the?
Oh, yeah.
I did that when I was in high school.
I actually was messing around with staplers, and I had figured out that you could pull the spring thing back, and the first punch wouldn't actually do anything because that would release the spring. And so I messed with someone to make them think that I had stapled myself. And this person went and stapled themselves for real. And I was like, bro, I was kidding.
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing?
So my brother, when I was growing up, like I was very young. Let me preface this story with I was very young. But he would like light napkins on fire and then like blow it out. And I tried to do this once, and let me tell you, it ended disastrously with my brother having to run down the stairs and like put out a fire that I had started in our living room because I was.
Those
How big
frontal
was it?
cortexes just aren't developed.
I mean, luckily it was. I mean, no bigger than this thing in the middle of the table here that I had started, but it was a pretty good sized fire, and I was very young. Again, let me say. And I tried to put the fire out with more napkins.
Obviously.
That's a great idea.
Logic.
Yeah, more fuel.
Smothering it.
So
Yeah.
why do people, I guess I had heard that people used hand sanitizer. Would they lick it or something? And
Yeah, because it's got alcohol in it. And so they thought,
so do students actually end up like drunk from
no.
No, they end up
They're
poisoning
dumb.
themselves.
that? Yeah, because that's what it
Yes.
is, right? It's not.
It has more
it's
chemicals in it.
poisonous.
They want to take those risky behaviors, and they're testing the limits of things. And that's just the age that things happen. We were going to have just so many people visit us, and it ended up just being the two of us for about 2 months. And my husband went back to work, and I was still, I had some complications afterwards. And so I was personally still recovering, and my daughter really struggled. I struggled breastfeeding her, and we couldn't go see any consultants because, you know, in COVID, that was a luxury. And so it was such a hard time. So the first time my in-laws met her and my mom met her, she was about 8 weeks old. And of course, that's when the derecho hit. Oh, so I had a 2-month-old.
Can't win.
in 80-degree weather with no air conditioning, and just it was a horrible, horrible time. But you know, we were as hard as it was. My husband worked from home for almost those entire 2 years. So we lived on the south side of Des Moines. He's always worked in Ames. So instead of spending, you know, a couple hours every day driving back and forth, he got to spend that time with our daughter. And he, you know, would take time every single day when she would wake up and dress her and spend some time with her out of his work day. And he got so much more bonding. Both of us had such a great like bonding experience with her because we got so much time with her. So like as unfortunate as it was, we were also so lucky. Like her bond with me is just so strong, and like she's completely just my miniature. Like she is exactly like me. She looks exactly like me. I'm obsessed with her. Like it's just so much fun. Like she calls me and my husband her best friends. Like she just, it was such a great, it was a hard time, but it was also such a great experience that, yeah, you got to find the good and the bad, you know?
Yeah, that's very important.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
COVID was no different for me than any other time. So I still had to physically go to work, and I literally had to drive around with a letter in my car from our lead attorney that said I am an essential worker. All because we had so many attorneys that were over the age of 65 that were, no, I'm not going to figure this out at this age. You can just come in the office. Like, so we did not shut down. So the thing that was cool about COVID, though, was that the rest of the world kind of shut down. So, like, all of the noise that was usually, like, we were standing outside one day while we were on break, and we watched a deer walk down the street in the middle of downtown Waterloo. And he just was, whatever. Nature was retaking everything because we had gone away. It was crazy because nature didn't know there was COVID, and it didn't care. So
it's a good point. I spent some time fighting with raccoons because I was paddleboarding and come in late, and they'd be like, "Oh, what are you doing now?" Yeah, it was a weird time. I did a lot of paddleboarding with some friends that we decided we didn't care. We'd rather die together than hang out alone. And
I mean, the only thing that I really cared about was that I didn't want to make others sick. Like, that was more my concern than anything. Like, I just don't want to, like, if I'm sick, I don't want to get the people that I have around me sick. I don't want to have the people that I care about get sick. Because, like, you know, like, my sister-in-law had cancer during that period. And, of course, like, we were sitting there discussing. I remember it was the Christmas of 2021. We were still discussing, like, you know, like, should we get together? Should we not?
Yeah.
Like, you know, I mean, that was almost a year and a half, 2 years later. And we're still discussing, like, what happens if, like, you know, because people still didn't know for the most part. Like,
Yeah, I was really fortunate. I mean, I like my husband. We spent a lot of time together beforehand. After teaching, I was just so exhausted and burned out. I'm like, I don't want to do anything. I don't want to go see anybody. So honestly, it wasn't that much different. We just had a tiny screaming human in addition. But yeah. All that to say, I enjoy reading outside of.
Okay, and that makes sense. Especially if you enjoy just hanging out alone. Like,
Yeah, I mean, I try and hang out.
You can kind of go into your own world in a book. Interesting.
I do other things. I am sometimes an interesting human, but
I did not say
things.
that you were not interesting, for the record.
no, so
I sound real boring.
speaking of COVID, though, like, and the work from home environment, like, with your current position here at the university, are you one of the people that can work from home?
I can.
Do you have a hybrid?
I do not. I live 5 minutes from campus. Like, honestly, it's just easier for me to come in. If I wanted to, I could, but I have 3 screens in my office, in my private office. And I have 1 screen at home and a screaming child. So sometimes it's just better to come in the office.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
I have 3 screens in all the places that I work, except that I often find myself working in the VR lab here, which I work closely with some of the students that are helping me develop this stuff. And I hate going down to 1 screen.
I do too.
It is so frustrating.
At least when I
Get so
had
much more work done.
in my job transition, I went from a Mac to a PC, and I'm a Mac person, and I could do one screen with a Mac because I could flip between my screens. But now that I have a PC, one, I just don't know how to use it. But two, I need the additional screens because I don't know all the functionality as well as I do with a Mac. And my husband, I could use his office if I wanted to, but my husband is a very messy person. That sounds horrible. He does not keep his office as organized as I do. My office is very organized and everything has a place, and his work from home desk is a nightmare and an anxiety-inducing mess that I don't want to deal with.
Area.
Yeah.
I feel like called out right now because, I mean, if I
clean
had...
up your desk. Come on.
Oh, dude.
Can't do it.
If you looked at my desk at the office right now, you would think I'm the most organized person on the face of the planet, but it's a complete and utter joke because my desk at home, like, everywhere. There are different piles, and every pile has a purpose, and, like, one pile is my stuff, and one pile is my work stuff, and one pile is my boyfriend's stuff. So, like, you know, like when you get things in the mail, like, he has a pile, I have a pile.
They usually just go in the trash.
You know,
Stuff that comes in them.
I don't know why, but my explanations of benefits for Wellmark, like they send me a physical copy and an email copy. Like, I don't understand that.
Gosh,
but
you just made me.
So he doesn't get it anymore.
Apparently, when he was moving last time, like,
but I might have opted to be like paperless.
For most things,
I can't honestly
like,
remember the last time I looked at that stuff.
You know, for most things, like I have gone paperless. So like we check the mail maybe once a week.
Yeah, the postal service sends me emails when I have a mail. So if I get an email, I know I need to go check.
Yeah, either I don't know how to turn off explanations of benefits in Wellmark, or I don't know, but like I cannot not get them via paper copy. And so 90% of what we get in the mail is either trash or an explanation of benefits.
Fair.
Yeah. I had a thought and it left my brain.
D for the win.
I'm surprised it's only happened once so far.
You know, when you're with people that are easy to talk with, it's easy to just go and just never stop.
Oh, I was going to say very much the like adage of like if you have your mind gets cluttered, if your desk is cluttered, that's how I work. And so if I have papers all over my desk, I'm like, I can't work, I can't think, I can't function. I need to clean it up.
I actually think that is how my brain functions. Like, this is very messy. Like, I have, you know, that idea that there are 7 trains and they're all running towards the same track. Like, that's, I think, my brain in a nutshell. Like, they're all on different tracks for now.
Fair.
Until they all come together somewhere.
Converge.
Yeah. Somewhere down the line. And then it gets really messy.
I don't know. When my place is a mess, I can't think.
No.
But my office is a complete disaster right now with piles of things everywhere. So
see, and I think it depends on what you consider like a mess. Like, you know, like, I don't know. I would call my house lovingly lived in, right? Like, my dishes aren't always done. Like, I always
have toys everywhere. They everywhere.
Oh my God, right? And trying to keep up with kids. I don't have any kids, but trying to keep up with kids, like, I can't even imagine it because I can't even keep up with myself. Like, most days you'll walk into my house and it on the surface looks very clean, but like I look at it and I see like the dish that my boyfriend left on the table, or I see, you know, the garbage that I left next to the couch, or, you know, like the project that I've been trying to work on for 45 years and it's still sitting.
Wow, you still haven't got that done yet?
I mean, considering I'm only 43 years old, like, actually, I'm only 42.
Okay.
I don't even know how old I am. Good God.
You have to go find this skit, or I can send you both this on Teams. It is about this guy that is, his wife is very angry with him, saying, I just can't do it. And he's like, it's fine. Just don't worry about it. Everything takes care of itself. And she's like,
doing it.
Yeah, she's like, what? And he's like, look at this desk. Sometimes I throw as much stuff as I can on here, and it just disappears.
Goes away.
It's magic.
In this magic basket, I throw as many clothes as I want in there, and then just hung up and clean the next. And she's like, and then the next scene
the
is
magic of unpaid female
police.
labor. Yes.
Yeah. So the next scene is the police, and he's going, no, she probably fell on the table, and that's why she's gone. And the guy's like, the woman officer is like, are you freaking serious? And the male officer says, no, I have the same table. It is one of the best skits ever.
So before I left Facebook, one of my favorite sort of videos to watch was this guy who's he called himself a recovering man-child, and he would talk about his process of how he became a recovering man-child, because then he would talk about things like, mental tabs and the mental load of what women do versus men, right? Like the mental load that we take on as women that men don't even think about, right?
No, we don't have time to think about that.
Like the running grocery list I have in my head, and then the one time a week I asked my husband if he needs any groceries. He's like, I haven't been thinking about that. I'm like, I've been thinking about that since the minute I stopped shopping last week.
Yeah.
And adding, our daughter's out of this, and we ran out of toilet paper, and we need that. Yes, absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I go to the grocery store, and I'm like, why am I here again?
The sad part is I have that running list in the back of my head, but I'm the person who gets home from the grocery store and then goes, none of this stuff was on my list.
That's why you can't
But those Nerds gummy clusters were just calling to me.
That's why you can't go to the grocery store hungry.
Absolutely.
I have learned that the hard way, that if I go there hungry, I come back with things that I will not eat in the appropriate amount of time. And
I sent to my...
But I am real happy for a real short amount of time.
My boyfriend went to the grocery store for milk last night and came back, and he had milk and Hostess donuts and Swiss cake rolls and I don't know. I think there were some fudge stripe cookies in there.
You definitely
took
a walk down the wrong aisle.
I was like, did you miss the aisle we were looking for? He's like, no, I got milk.
Clearly got milk and things to go with it.
Yeah, right. I was like, I don't understand. I don't need to be eating any of these things. Why bring these home?
Well, they looked interesting to him, I guess.
Oh.
I was going to ask something about future. I was thinking like...
Future aspirations?
To retire at some point.
I'm going to work till I die, I think.
I'm going to die
you my
young.
father?
That's my goal.
Oh my God.
I actually would love it if I could 500
What?
watch pass by.
Like Tuck Everlast.
I would much rather inform. I'm on...
What? We want to be a rabbit or something?
Think about this.
I mean, here's the
Try to
thing.
avoid it.
I'm not going to be... I don't know. Maybe this is morbid, but nobody who has aged in my family has made it real good. Let's say, my mom is currently in a home and in a wheelchair because she lost mobility, right? And my dad died at 65, so nobody in my family has really made aging look super good. My grandpa was 102 and couldn't hear anybody by the time he passed. And
Yeah, that sucks.
so, we have longevity in my family, but they don't exactly make it look super great. I don't know. So I'm just like, I'll hit 65 and out. I'm good.
That's so young, though.
That's so scary. That's so soon.
Yeah, but that implies that what's on the other side is better.
That's true.
Yeah, I guess we'll know
I guess
when
it
we get there,
depends
right?
on what you believe is on the other side. I like to think, and this is my own personal view, so take it for what you will, but I like to think that when you get to the other side, you just become a voyeur of life, right?
Voyeur?
A
View it.
watcher.
Oh,
you can
you're
see
you're
what's
just
going
a
on.
ghost and you watch everybody.
Yeah.
Or a spirit.
Or a spirit or
a
whatever.
presence.
But what if the other ghosts suck?
Or, hypothetically speaking, you're sitting on a cloud somewhere,
I mean,
right?
most people here suck too, don't they? So, is it really better on either side?
Hey, you gotta find your friends, I guess.
Exactly. So, maybe you find friends on the other side. We used to joke, that my dad and grandpa would be having a beer, watching the Cubbies. after they died. Like, that's like what we like to think about where they're at, right? You know, so I guess it all depends
Definitely
on
gonna
what.
have a beer later on. So
Whereas, like, if you don't believe there is anything on the other side, I guess that, you know, like, that's really boring. Whatever. Like,
To dream, perchance to sleep. Going back to Hamlet. Full circle, baby.
good job.
I'm just saying she could throw Shakespeare in anything because he
Yeah.
covered everything.
It sounds like it.
Hamlet talks about the circle of
Did you
life,
not have
which
this-
has a really fancy song in The Lion King.
Elton John made it, in case you didn't know.
Oh, yeah, I do
Can
know
we
that.
say that on the podcast? I don't even know. Can-
Yeah.
What?
As long as we don't sing it, it's
I mean,
copyrighted. But
Yeah, I was going to say. Like,
Oh, if we played it, we'd be in trouble.
yes.
I'm just, like, being from the legal side, like,
Oh, yeah.
like-
Yeah, I think you worry too much from the legal side.
Look, man,
You just gotta
Shakespeare's been dead for a really long time, so I can
he's in the
quote that.
public domain.
Yes.
He is
Yeah.
definitely coming back to get you later on.
Shakespeare is?
From the other side.
I mean, I was more worried about Elton John, actually, because
Is he still alive?
No.
Elton John?
Oh, yes, he is. Oh,
I
my
was
gosh.
going to say, yes, he is.
Okay.
He, I don't know if you know this, there was just a movie made about him.
There's also a movie made about Queen, the guy from Queen, whose name is currently escaping me, and he is dead.
Freddie Mercury.
Yes.
Yeah, I think I saw the one about Queen, but not the Elton
Bohemian
John.
Rhapsody.
Yeah.
My sister
That
worked
was a
on
really
Bohemian
good-
Rhapsody.
Worked on it?
Like, how?
So the most interesting thing about me is my sister works in TV.
My brother works in theater.
So yeah, my sister, when Bohemian Rhapsody. Oh no, my sister worked on Mr. Robot, which the guy Rami Malek, who was Freddie Mercury in the Queen movie, was the lead in Mr. Robot, and so my mom had watched the Queen movie and was like, "Hello, please get me on set so I can meet him." And he liked my sister so much he gave her a gift card to thank her. For
Rami Malek.
He's a sweetheart, apparently.
Really? That always surprises me.
I love, like and this is probably an old reference nowadays, but the 7 Degrees of Kevin Bacon.
Oh, yeah.
My sister worked with Kevin Bacon, so like my degree of separation.
You're like second degree Kevin
Yeah.
Bacon.
So I always tell people, if you know me, you're like 3 degrees away from Kevin Bacon.
Now I am third degree of Kevin Bacon.
When did people used to say that?
I don't know. Well,
Probably
before
when
I was
Kevin
born.
Bacon was very popular after Footloose.
It was Footloose.
1989.
80s.
Okay, so maybe it was around people, high school, that people. I don't know. Anyway,
Now I feel like I need to look up.
council
Big
stuff.
tangent.
What should we talk about with council?
I was gonna say the future thing.
Talking points? Should we go or something?
No, I was gonna go with tips for new members of council.
I don't know. Talk to people.
Talk to people. You're here talking to us right now.
I know. You should talk
That-
to people.
That is the most important tip, probably.
Yeah, I feel like, there's less talking, getting together now that we're in the Innovation Center. Like when we were in the union, I feel like we were in more of a semicircle where you could see people and maybe sit next to people you don't know. And I feel like now I go in and I don't really talk to many people. But I'm also the person who's like, I'm not afraid to go up to somebody and say like, oh, I know you because you're my student or whatever. I will go up and talk to people. But I feel like sometimes people go into council and they just sit there and then leave and never talk to anybody. So don't
What
do
was
that.
that? Were you trying
She
to say
does
that
that.
was you?
I do that. Oh,
Well,
yeah.
stop doing that.
I mean, I literally walk into council meetings and I just sit there, and then when it's over, I leave, and that's
Do
what I do.
you think that we need to rearrange the tables differently, maybe?
Can we in that room? I don't think
Yeah.
we
Yeah, we can.
Absolutely.
I just don't think there's room for it, honestly.
There was
I
at
know
least
for a
one
fact
time.
they can go in a circle, and when we did the 3-3-3, they were in triangles. I think.
I think they were just
No.
in groups.
They were in like 2 table groups,
Was that it?
that was a decent way to do it. But my favorite way was at one point we did do a giant circle, which
I don't
is
think I was
the
there at that
standard.
time.
Yeah, but I do think
I
it
do remember that.
that was a nice thing about being at the MU was you could look at somebody across the way that you didn't know.
Right. And
back in those days, I was taking my one wheel in, and there was somebody that was all like, "Hey, one wheel, how's it going?"
Well, like, and I tend to sit in the front, so anyone who's behind me, I don't even know you exist because you're behind. Like, I can't see you. You're not in my mind. So
I'm usually in about the third row. I'm a middle of the road kind of person. Like,
I don't know why, but I always tend to sit in the front.
It's because you're a teacher.
No, that's not true. I like to have a table because I like to have my computer
Tables are
open.
nice, yeah.
And I'm always answering student emails. But I like to look at the agenda while they're talking through it. And
real talk, I never look at the agenda before it happens. Anytime I'm in the meeting, I'm in the meeting looking at what we're actually doing in the meeting. I might be or I'm too busy to read it.
what is your favorite part of council meetings?
I really like the administrative reports. Like, sometimes you just don't hear from these people. It's just nice to hear some of the goings on around campus that maybe you're not involved in or aren't aware about because it doesn't necessarily pertain to you, but it's just interesting to hear about the university. Like, I think about the last administrative report we had from the vice president of extension.
Jason Henderson.
I don't deal with extension a whole lot. And so I didn't come from a state that does a lot with extension, and I didn't go to a land-grant university. That was a lot of learning for me when I came here. And so to hear, especially like so much of what he was talking about relates back to the programs that I help at the College of Business. And so I'm like, this is the return on investment for why so many people are doing our programs. Going back to like, why do people want a business degree? It's teaching those skills that are, our undergrad is so focused on, a lot of our undergrad programs are focused on those technical skills. They're missing those soft skills. And so they come back to us for their graduate degree to learn those soft skills because they need to learn how to, now they've been in industry for several years, they need to learn how to lead a team, and they need that teamwork aspect of it and things like that. So
the management aspect.
Yes, we get a lot of quick plug. We have a leadership certificate that's currently working its ways through the channels. So it'll be a 5-class certificate through the College of Business, graduate certificate about leadership and how to lead.
I have to tell you, I learned on the fly how to be in management, and it is.
Yep.
I mean,
it's difficult.
Even in high school, I was in management, and let me tell you, the worst thing that companies can do is put high schoolers in charge of anything. I had to learn a lot of hard lessons about things like labor laws and how you can't let people who don't actually work for your company come and do work for your company without paying them, because that's illegal, right? Like, in high school, you don't think about those things. And so to be thrown into management that early in life, like, I had to learn a lot of hard lessons. And then when I got to a middle management role in one of my law firms, like, trying to figure out how to lead a team and be friendly with people and not be friends with people, like, that is a really hard line to walk, right? Because you want to be these people's friends, right? Like, you want to be nice to them, you want to
treat them right.
Exactly. So, but trying to walk that line between them thinking that you're their friend and them understanding that you're not their friend, you're their boss,
right.
Like, that was
the difference of being nice versus being kind.
Yeah.
Where, you want to be nice to them, but those boundaries need to be set and expectations need to be there. It's hard.
So does that certificate, does any of that stuff, are you guys talking about micro-credentials?
Yeah, so I'm on the micro-credential task force for the university.
Okay.
I'm the person for the College of Business. And Tanya, who does the micro-credentialing for the university, is in CELT, and she's a friend. So we've talked about micro-credentialing it. The university's kind of gone back and forth on who's eligible for a micro-credential. At first, it was students only, and it could only be for credits or for classes that were for credit. They've kind of walked back on that policy now, and so I know a lot of departments and a lot of colleges across campus are wanting to use it as a income-producing arm, where I don't know how involved you might have been with the AI. There was a translational AI micro-credential that was rolled out and was something that was given to industry as kind of a continuing education credit, but it was something to profit off of. And so the university is still kind of trying to figure out how the economic structure of that looks like especially with non-students and like professionals.
Yeah, it probably depends a lot on what it is that you're getting the micro-credential in. Like the Student Innovation Center is getting involved in that too.
Yeah.
And we're talking about giving somebody, say, a micro-credential for you understand how to use the Melco embroidery machine.
Yep.
Well, you don't have to pay anything to learn how to use it. So, and that will be true of all of our things at the Student Innovation Center, but you talk about college producing them, and it's a different
and with the
beast
micro
to think
credentials, they do have to have some type of assessment, and so you have to assess whatever the credential is in to prove that the student has that, or the learner, I'll say, has that skill. And so sometimes it's hard because it's like, how do you assess a leadership course, or how do you assess it's much easier of here's AI or here's a technical school, but so many of these micro credentials are leaning more towards those soft skills. But we're hoping it becomes a great tool for students to show off, like, in this class, here's what I learned. Besides just these technical skills, I also worked on X, Y, and Z, and the university is backing me and saying I have those skills. So kind of a resume builder, a talking point when going to interviews and
I
in
think
careers.
adults need those. I mean, if I could just put on my resume, like, hey, I actually have this skill.
Right.
Like, you can.
I've done some learning in it.
Yeah.
Intentionally.
Yeah. And I also have, the viable skills to back it up. Like I had to do it in the workplace and, So.
It's kind of like I completed a LinkedIn Learning is kind of how it's going to come about almost.
Do you put those things on your resume?
No.
I didn't.
Do you do that?
So something I learned from council was this leadership course that the university is offering. That's one thing I appreciate is like, there's so many things. It's such a big campus. And my undergrad experience, we had 2,400 students, which was half the size of my high school. And so I'm used to just that small environment, and coming to a campus this size, there's just so many resources and so much out there that it's hard to keep track of like what's going on at any given moment, especially because, we're a college of innovation. Things are changing constantly. And so like, being in council has helped me stay connected onto all those, things that are changing, resources I might need. So
we just learned from Barb, who, when she gave us our feedback, like she gave us a link to their podcast, and they apparently had been podcasting for 17 seasons.
Oh, wow.
And we were like, okay. And today I randomly came across like,
I think history has one, like the history department.
The Daily has like, the Iowa State Daily has like a bunch of, they do like a Humans of Iowa State
cool, yeah.
thing. And true story, a girl that I knew in high school was one of their humans. And I was like, oh, check that out. And so like I watched her little thing. And,
that's awesome.
like the Iowa State Daily has 2 sports podcasts. I found that out today.
How did you learn all this? Just digging around? Or?
Well, actually, it's a funny story.
She Googled Iowa State podcast.
I read the Iowa State Daily email every morning that we get. I don't know if you do, but I do.
That's reading. I don't read.
Yep. That's that reading
Don't
thing.
send Paul an email because he won't read it.
You probably should just come and talk to me.
In fact, if you need
it's short,
something,
I'll read it. But
I'm not walking all the way across
I'm
campus to talk to you.
Send him a voice text.
No, those are terrible, because then you don't want to like play them, because then you're being disruptive to the people around you.
Some headphones in.
No, I don't.
See, I have a private office where I get to listen to them.
Yeah, that's nice. It's nice for you.
I have my
I need
earbuds
to be
in
able to
all
be
day.
interrupted without not knowing that I'm being interrupted.
Yeah.
So.
I figured out that my earbuds have a quiet mode and an aware mode, and I usually leave them in quiet mode.
Aware mode is weird.
It is, because then you're listening to what you're listening to, and then all of a sudden, like, you can still hear an echo of things that are going on around you. I don't like aware mode.
People always get weirded out by me. Like, I hear things that like, oh, somebody just entered the room, or, you know, the door opened, or like I hear really weird things. And they're like, how did you hear that? I'm like, you do have to realize I'm a classically trained vocalist, and I've trained my ears for years and years and years to hear things and to notice and pick up things. And so I just notice really weird noises, and that sometimes happens. But
And here I was going to ask if you were just paranoid.
the voices in my head are real, I promise.
Yeah, well, of course they are.
Yes. But yeah, I'm doing the UHR leadership course. And so part of that is several LinkedIn learnings. Do I put the LinkedIn learnings when I complete them on my LinkedIn? No. But at the end, do I get a nifty certificate for completing 14 different classes? Yes, I do. And that's going on my office wall.
I wonder if those LinkedIn learning things are searchable.
I'm sure they are.
Even though you don't post them, maybe someone can look you up.
Maybe. It wasn't in Grok in my
Well, I
summary.
didn't ask for a deeper summary. Maybe I should.
I feel like maybe you need to go to level 2 with Grok and see, like,
I probably
hey, Grok,
should.
how many micro-credentials does she have in LinkedIn Learning? And see if Grok can find. That would fly.
Yes. I've had to complete some for courses and stuff too.
I love that the university gives us access to all of LinkedIn Learning's catalog. Like
I like it, but I don't do it.
Oh my God. I
do sometimes.
occasionally get bored and just take one. And like when we have a slow moment, which is not right now, I will just rant. Like I took one on like Excel because I haven't taken an Excel course since I was in college in the early aughts. And so like I took an Excel course and I was like, I didn't even know that was a thing. Like, because if you're not using the technology, like there's no reason for you to know these things. And like, you know,
it just leaves my brain.
Yeah.
I have more important things to remember.
Yep. And so taking LinkedIn Learning classes.
Shut up. My
You know
Christmas list.
Oh, yeah, that one.
You know, you joke, but seriously, it's a thing that we do.
I believe it is. That's why I wanted to bring it back up.
All of the Access Plus things that I learned, I'm like, please leave my brain because I need to learn the Workday stuff now.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's important. Workday.
You know, when you said Access Plus, I was like, you have databasing skills too? No. Never mind.
You're thinking about Microsoft Access.
We do use that in our office.
What?
We have our own. So
Why?
we run a shadow database to Workday because we need certain information for our reporting. We do a lot of reporting in the College of Business.
Oh, sure.
And because our rankings are very important, and there's very specific things that like U.S. World News and the Princeton Review need, and so we keep them in our Access database.
Is that
so that
because Workday doesn't have like the fields
it's too
that you
hard
need?
to find them, and this way we can run exactly what we need, because we need like GRE scores, we need undergraduate majors, it's such specific things that we need because we do one for our online programs, we do one for our in-person programs. We have lots of, and I don't even know all of it because I'm not the person who reports, but there's financial information we need. We work with our career services team. We work with our finance and delivery team. We work with how many faculty members are teaching graduate-only coursework. There's so much that we do throughout the entire college that we need that it's just sometimes easier to pull in
From
our own database.
Yeah.
You know, you might
was
be
how it was
able.
explained to me.
You might be able to talk to people in the Workday team and have them build you the kinds of reports that you need.
It's just hard because every year it changes. And
Yeah.
so we'd have to go to them every year, and it's something we can control.
You know, I have found that to be one of the major kickers with databases, right? Is like the things that you need from the database are constantly evolving.
Yeah.
And so like our database that we have in our office is run by an outside company. And so if we want something specific, we have to go to them and ask them to build it into their database. And that then costs us money.
Yeah.
And so that...
And honestly, the Workday team is so overworked right now. They don't have time.
Oh, yeah. Like, I can't even
that's
imagine
fair.
what they're going through. And ours is IP specific, right? So, you know, like, we have government reporting that we have to do, right? And so every year, this government reporting, we could pull it from our database. But in order to do that, we have to pay the company to give us that
Yeah.
build
I feel
out.
like your group should have had some IT person assigned directly to...
We do.
Oh, okay.
But now everyone from what I understand, IT is becoming more centralized, and so we're losing.
Yeah, that happened to me.
Yeah. Because we had an IT guy who helped build this access database, and he's becoming more centralized.
I just got pulled into ITS, or it's going to be official, I think, in February maybe or something. Well, maybe it's earlier than that. It's strange. It changes the reporting structure, and I think it opens up some other teams groups that I wasn't formally in to be in, and I don't know. But I'm still doing the same job. Mm-hmm. I still have a dotted line to the same people that I've talked to, so I'm not different. I'm just different.
Yeah, I get it.
We'll see what happens.
Our office is the only office at the graduate level that provides professional staff for academic advising, whereas undergraduate, it's all professional staff. At the graduate level, for the most part, it's faculty. And we're the only office that does academic advising. And so a lot of the time we're left out of advising decisions or advising things. And there's advising resources on campus, and we go to that. But it's also hard because it's so undergrad focused. And I'm like, yeah, my professional students don't need free haircuts, or they don't need to know the resources on campus that they can't access because they live in California or they live in North Carolina or whatever. And so it's hard in that respect because we're kind of the outliers on campus ourselves. We just, not very many people do what we do at our level. So it's...
I didn't know students could get free haircuts.
They can at the parks. Part of Cyclone...
At the parks?
Parks Library.
What?
Yeah.
There is a haircut place at the...
So
What?
once a month...
Please inform us.
So I can't remember what the program is called, and I feel bad. It's Cyclone Support, I believe. They have a location now in Parks Library, and so they offer resources to students. So there's career counseling and resume. They'll look over your resume, and they'll bring in people to give free haircuts. And
So, like, for job interviews, though,
it's like once a month they'll give free haircuts.
so like any random student could go into this thing every month
If they
and get a
wanted to.
free haircut.
I guess so. I am woefully being
Underinformed.
Yes, I'm woefully underinformed. Being in the online space, it's just not something my students take advantage of, and so I'm kind of purposefully ignorant about it. But I thought, so my social media, I follow Parks Library because big library, big book supporter, and I see stuff on there occasionally, all the time about it, and I don't know a ton about it, but they have some really cool and innovative resources for our students that.
Maybe we should have a list. I would love that.
Kate works at the library.
Kate
Gerritsen,
Oh,
who is the awards chair, who probably knows more about the awards than I do.
I'll text her.
All right. Was she ever a president? Does she need to come on our past presidents episode?
She is not. She was not.
Okay.
What I know.
Anyway, we'll write.
Is there anybody's number you don't have in that phone?
Mine. He can't find it on the interweb.
Grok didn't.
He couldn't find it.
Wouldn't it just be in the address?
I mean, that's my work phone.
Well, yeah, I remember.
I was going to say, you can elect to not have your personal phone on.
Yeah, and I got
on work
I have a
phone.
Chicago number, so.
My work phone is my personal. I only have 3,132 contacts. Not that many.
I don't even think I have 100 contacts in my phone.
I add everybody that I meet, and I meet a lot of people. And
I guess Paul doesn't care about me enough because
I'm
he
a
hasn't
strange
done that.
extrovert. You're in my address book, but not with your personal number because I haven't had no need for it.
All right. So, in that case, Julieanne, thank you for joining us today and being on this crazy little podcast. And then we will see everybody next time.
All right. Thanks, everybody.
Bye.